This weekend, I got to spend some time with two of my closest friends, Likely De Leon and Dorian Coleman, as we celebrated Dorian's 27th birthday. And it was a blast. We got to hang out, eat some really good food, have some nice drinks, go to a couple jazz clubs, and then we, of course, got to do some photography things. We got to take some portraits, we got to go out and take some photo walks across Austin and San Antonio. And then we got to have a lot of conversations surrounding photography. And one of the conversations that we landed on was about autofocus versus manual focus. And not to juxtapose them to tell you that one is better than the other, but more to just have a discussion on what you're pulling from each. You see, Dorian's shooting primarily on an X-T5 with a 23mm Voigtlander lens, and me and Lee are shooting on like an M system. And while we're having these conversations and we're praising just the ability of both type of cameras, one thing came to me very, very strongly. I've made more money since switching to manual focus for stills than I had at any point during my life before. Is it because Leica's great? No. Is it because manual focus is pure and it's the way that we should really be taking photos? Absolutely damn not. I believe it's the fact that once I let go of the idea of perfection and once I stopped prioritizing autofocus over my own creativity, I just got better. And I think you can too. If you've ever thought, why is my wireless bill so high? Then let me talk to you about Mint Mobile, which is today's video partner. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice anything as far as speed, coverage, or data, as they're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They're able to keep prices so low because they sell directly to you, from them to consumer. No retail stores, no salespeople working on commission, no middleman, baby. So start asking yourself, why should you have to pay more to have access to the exact same network experience? All plans include unlimited talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and a free mobile hotspot. Mint also offers the modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. 2 years ago next month, I switched to Mint Mobile, and it was one of the best decisions I could ever make. Not only have I been able to save money, but I've still been able to have amazing, reliable, and fast service everywhere I go. So if you're one of those quirky little people who would like to start saving money while not sacrificing amazing, fast, and reliable service, you can go to mintmobile.com/drosa, or you can click this QR code and begin your life with Mint today. Now, I'm not saying that autofocus is a horrible thing whatsoever, and I'm not saying that if you're shooting autofocus that you're some stuck-up elitist or anything like that. What I'm saying is that a lot of times we prioritize certain things and validate certain things above others just because we're told that it has to be like that. How many times have you heard someone who shoots Sony or used to shoot Sony talk about how horrible the colors were? But when you talk about why they've been shooting that for 5 years or why they were shooting that for an extended period of time, it's always, well, the autofocus is damn good. See, we prioritize specs and all these things that we're told by manufacturers that are supposed to be important over actual creative work. Some of you are probably saying, but you're a sports photographer. Why are you talking about autofocus this way? You need great autofocus, and that's true. But I've been a good sports photographer with a Canon 5D Mark III. I've been a great sports photographer with the Sony A9. I've been a great sports photographer with a Canon 1DX Mark I, and even a great sports photographer right now with the Fujifilm X-H2S. The camera doesn't make me good at what I do. I'm good at what I do regardless, but the camera is there to help serve me in that way to be able to capture these images. Yes, autofocus is important, but it doesn't make you stand out from anyone else. And I truly believe that the reason I'm getting more work now than ever and my money coming in is even better, that's a lie for IRS purposes, it's because the less I prioritize just autofocus and being lazy with that, less time is spent thinking about the specs, thinking about where I have to be for this, that, and the other, and more time on creating a creative image. You see, anyone can be given this Fujifilm X-H2 right now. I can put it in auto, hand it to someone, and send them out on the street and say, hey, take portraits of 10 people or take portraits of me and my wife, and I'll pay you. And let me tell you, they're going to get good images. The eye autofocus is going to be on, and they're going to be able to hit decent images regardless. And that's with any autofocus camera in the year 2023, period. But if I was to tell them this, and here's 3 lights that aren't set up, set those up the way we can get some good lighting, make sure to, give me some Rembrandt tones or anything like that. Hey, and here's some stuff for a backdrop, and can you tell us what we need to wear? They're going to shit themselves, because it takes a lot more to be a great photographer and a creative photographer than it takes to be a person that's good at just taking a photo. You see, autofocus makes it to where anyone in the world can be a good photographer. Do you really think that your autofocus of the Canon R3, of the Fujifilm X-H2S, of the Nikon Z9 is going to make you stand out to clients who have no idea what the hell is going on in that camera? It's not. But being creative and more selective about the things that you're doing and more intentional about creating these images with off-camera flash, with set design, with being able to help people with outfit ideas and outfit design, that is what's going to make you stand out more than anything else. Take a listen to my boys like Ali and Dorian Coleman so you can get their opinion in these situations as well.
I don't really miss autofocus. There are times where I wish I had it, but most of the time I'm happy with being involved with my image a lot more and messing up when I can and learning from it and just adjusting on the fly, so, and getting better from that.
Yeah. So. Honestly, man, when you were introducing this and you said that a lot of people will say that manual focus has cons, I think nearly every con that you can attribute to it is a means to improve and further engage. Because even, for example, like you were saying, when it comes to missing photographs sometimes, because it's manual, you missed it, and you can figure out why you did and do it better the next time. But as far as what I'm getting out of it the most is the level of engagement. I mean, not to say that you can't engage in photography when you are using autofocus, but just that fact of if I step 6 steps back and I'm shooting on anything faster than like f4, I gotta change things up, you know? And that level of just having to change things, adjust, it just gives you one more thing to focus, for, I guess no pun intended, to focus on and get you deeper into that flow state. In fact, that's what I was missing in all genres of my photography, but especially street photography. You know, it kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, this lens is, you know, $1,000. It can do anything under the sun. Let me just hit the button no matter what angle and hit it. And while that's okay, I feel like when you have more things to think about, you have less things to get distracted by that are outside of the process, and it's just ever more rewarding.
Is critical focus really that important when you're getting the point across? And
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about the book, like the Americans book. How many of those photos are out of focus?
Shit, I'd probably say 40-50%, right? Like but it gets the point across and it's beautiful regardless. And it, you know, it just shows where that photographer was in the moment. Maybe he couldn't get critical focus. He just wanted the shot, right? He wanted the content over the quality, if that makes sense. And that's what's beautiful about it. I really let go of the notion of perfection a long time ago, especially when I would just like zoom in. I would just like really get into the computer and zoom all the way in. Whereas, you know, if we're viewing this in a gallery, we're not doing that. For real. We have no access to really like pinching to zoom or, you know, really check out the resolution and if the CCD or Bayer sensor really did its job. Who cares, right?
You see, photography isn't just about autofocus. And I used to be someone that only focused on that. I had to have the specs, and I was trained that way by someone that I used to work with. It had to have the best specs. It had to have the best specs. It had to have this log. It had to have that. It had to have eye autofocus. It had to have this. I had to use L glass, all these things. And at the end of the day, what mattered more than any of the things that he was telling me was important to a photographer was that the image looked good. Autofocus will not save you from a bad image. Autofocus will not save you from a bad composition or from bad lighting. All that it's doing is putting a hat on a hat whenever it comes to just acquiring focus, which you can do with a manual focus lens, you can do with bodies 15 years ago. We idolize and worship photographers that never had the opportunities we have with their cameras to be able to achieve perfection. That's a very ironic thing. The Gordon Parks, the Henri Cartier-Bressons, the Annie Leibovitzes, the Photo Dre's, the people that we think are greats, the Daido Moriyamas, they haven't always had the best autofocus or ever had autofocus to be able to hang their hat on. Do I think that manual focus made me better at documentary photography? No. It's not about a camera body. It's not about a camera system. It's about a way of thinking. I have more opportunities now. I'm making more money now, not because my cameras and lenses are these big ass things and they're the best and top of the line. I have more money now and more opportunities now for the simple fact that I am more creative now, I'm more intentional now, and that my images look even better now that I've stopped worrying about specs or everything having to be perfectly in focus. But I'm worried more about what the image is telling and if it's something that my client would love versus everything being optically perfect for me to have pleasure at when I'm looking at it at 300% on my camera. So one of the things that I want to pass on to you guys too is the fact that I saved a lot of money by not having to upgrade to new gear, new lenses, etc. all the time for work. This idea of I have to upgrade my gear, switch systems, do all these things, buy new lenses that are, back in these days, better with my DSLR, it has a new focusing system, is complete and total BS. Reason being is, if the gear is able to help me do the job today, if the gear is able to help me complete assignments today, and I never once think while this is new in my hands, there's not a new body release that I need to upgrade or switch, then why is it that all of a sudden when something new and shiny comes out that I need it? That's impulse buying. That has nothing to do with you being a better photographer or you being a better artist. And to think like that and move like that does nothing but get you in debt and just give you more excuses as to why you're not achieving what you wish to achieve. I hope that this makes sense for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed those clips from Dorian and Lee. They did a fantastic job having this conversation with me about photography. We talked about the photography greats. We talked about, fads in photography. We talked about our manual focus experiences, and we even talked about things that inspire the three of us. If you're interested in this, you can check out my channel memberships where I'm going to be posting all of these podcasts only there because I do so horrible in the algorithm. I had to find somewhere to post them. Shout out to the winner of the TT Artisans 27mm f2.8 drawing. They are right here. So shout out to them. I've already shipped that off. And be on the lookout because we're going to have more giveaways happening soon. So with all that being said, who cares about all this autofocus stuff anyway? Large format is king. Take it light, but take it. Have a good one. Top 3 photographers and why? Do you want to have a conversation? It could be short, like a short conversation.
Top 3, huh?
This will not be a short conversation.
Oh, yeah. No, I got